Fantastic. Go ahead and open up public hearing on Resolution 2018-32, authorizing the execution of a Fourth Amendment to the Concord Township City of Painesville Joint Economic Development District contract. This is a Nunci Pro Tunci amendment. Is that correct? Am I?
Non-proton.
Okay. Well, I didn't take Latin. I took French, so I need you lawyers to help me out on that.
Very rarely used by me.
That's right. Non-proton. Second Amendment and Third Amendment, respectively, to include additional property within the Joint Economic Development District and declaring an emergency. What I'm going to do is ask anybody that would like to speak in favor or in opposition on the matter before us as it relates to the public hearing only. And in doing so, as you come up, you'll give your name, your address for the record, and I'm going to have our legal counsel swear you in. So, is there anybody that would like to speak to this matter at this time? Either pro or con. We're not going to do one or the other. Just come on up in an orderly fashion.
Swear me in.
Here,
Okay.
Mr. Monroe is a lawyer and officer of the court. He doesn't need to be sworn.
Fair enough.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Monroe. I'm with the law firm Manser Gavin, LPA, Cleveland, Ohio. The address is 1001 Lakeside Avenue, Suite 1400, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. As you all know, our law firm represents Concord Real Estate Investments, LLC, which is a property owner, and our client is strongly opposed to Resolution 2018-32. As many of you know, our client owns 4 parcels that are proposed to be included in the JED. For the record, our client has not requested or petitioned either body to become a part of this joint economic development district. Furthermore, we are unsure whether the service requirements of the Ohio Revised Codes have been met. But the main reason our client is opposed to this is there is absolutely no benefit to our client's property being included in this JED. As you know, all 4 of our client's property are vacant, unimproved land. When I say unimproved, there is water, sewer, and street access, which were all constructed by our client's predecessor. And as you all know, Discovery and Capitol Drive meet or exceed all of the requirements in the state of Ohio or any political subdivision as to the construction and the material and the specifications. Furthermore, our client installed, at the time that the sanitary sewer was built, paid for the connection, but also pre-purchased capacity within that. We feel these are all attributes of our client's property that can be developed and marketed to end users. As I mentioned, we would request that if the trustees would like to go forward with the JED amendment, that they just leave our client's property out of the proposal. We want to address several of the items that were brought up at the Painesville meeting the other night. The first thing we need to remind everyone that the 2 buildings that exist in the park were built by the Swagelok Manufacturing Company and or Crawford Fittings. And they are manufacturing facilities, and they are currently used by the owners of their properties, Cinetic and Denortec, for similar uses that they were at the time they were constructed. We would suggest that the JED is typically used for undeveloped land where there's no roads or sewers. We have both of those. So at this time, there's really no value to the property to be included. As we mentioned, Crawford Fittings and/or Swagelok and/or Mr. Lennon installed the streets and the infrastructure at their cost, and they did not need a JED to make those improvements. There was a statement made that somehow the ownership was not connected with the Swagelok Company, and I can tell you that our clients have taken great offense to that. And as Mr. West clarified,
I'm sorry, Mr. Monroe,
Yep.
wasn't it that it was, I mean, I guess I don't want to disturb you in saying that they take great defense to it, but I thought it was that it was, the property was owned by an entity and not necessarily the family individually.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
as
the
you're
comment?
well aware, an LLC in the state of Ohio is a disregarded entity. The sole member of the company is Mr. Lennon's daughter. She is the majority owner of the Swagelok Company.
What do you mean it's a disregarded entity? An LLC is a fictitious entity that is established that has a tax return. I mean, it's a separate entity, isn't it?
Typically, no. If there's a single member, you don't have to file a separate tax return. You would file a Schedule 2, a personal return.
K1, you get a K1, right?
The point is that it's Fred Lennon's daughter who is a member of the company that owns the property. Going further with some of the other items that were mentioned at the meeting the other evening, we would suggest that 4 of the proposed properties are owned by Concord Township itself. We believe that, as mentioned, that our clients have not requested at any point to be included in this process. As you also know, there are several existing properties that have been developed and are not included in this JED proposal, including the Denoritech facility, the Synetic facility, the medical office building. There are a number of employers that are not included in this JED. There was also a statement about Concord's maintenance of the existing roadways within our client's property. Other than normal snow plowing and salting, we are not aware of any repairs that have been made to that road. We just want to clarify that. So I'm also joined here tonight by Bill West of Hannah Commercial, who has over 40 years of experience in selling industrial property in Northeast Ohio. And he is going to testify very briefly about what a possible disincentive the JED designation would have for this vacant industrial property. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John, you want to address the service requirement issue? I mean, what's the issue in service?
Well, there was suggested the other evening that there's some deferred maintenance and that the township may have to put money into the road. And what we're suggesting is that that's what real estate taxes are for, and our client has paid tens of thousands of dollars of real estate taxes over the years, and in fact installed a road that exceeds any requirements that the township would have.
Do you know when that road was installed?
Mr. West could give us, I believe, the late 80s, but can give you the exact year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, how about the you also mentioned service requirements for this matter.
Yes. When we were in Painesville the other night, we learned for the first time that that was the third reading of that proposed ordinance, and we are reviewing section 715 to determine whether that is sufficient notice to a property owner who has not petitioned to be in the JED, but is being put in the JED against its wishes. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill West. Address is,
Go ahead, Bill.
pardon me?
Go ahead, say your address first.
Address 35 River Street, my home. My address in downtown Cleveland is 1350 Euclid Avenue.
Ms. West, you swear or affirm that the statements you give tonight will be true and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I've been lucky enough to be in the real estate business for 50 years. Can hardly stand up anymore, but in any case, I'm here tonight. Our company and me personally have been involved in most of the industrial parks around the city of Cleveland. We've worked both with the developers and with clients who were interested in locating in those industrial parks. I would have to tell you today that the tenant, the buyer, the prospective user of the property is interested in the full scope of a piece of property. That might entail tax abatements, might entail Jobs Ohio from the standpoint of credits for that, all kinds of incentives, et cetera. In this particular case, we were able to interest people in the property because there was a lack of income tax. If you look at, as mentioned by John Monroe, the situation with regards to the hospital, the medical office building was separated from the hospital. The reason for that was basically so that they could entice doctors who would not have to pay income taxes on their income in that building. The building, of course, pays real estate taxes. So we're not saying that somebody shouldn't pay taxes. It's just a question of the mix of the total thing. One of the things that would help us in this case is the fact that there is no income tax at this point in time. We were told originally that this was strictly arbitrary. We have sold 6 different pieces of property within the park. The 2 that John mentioned, the 2 swage-like buildings, et cetera, neither one of those wanted to go into the JED, basically because they didn't see the incentives, the reasons why they would want to do that. Hospital, the same thing on both of the pieces of property, the one that basically their medical building is on, and also the vacant piece they bought on Auburn Road. We're not against somebody going into the JED. In fact, 2 of the properties that we sold are what I call assisted living, and both of them are in the JED, but it was their discretion to do so. Also, if you were to take that development, I think both of those developments, assisted living ones, are probably worth in excess of $10 million each. If you then add basically the 2 buildings that were owned and operated by Swage-like and currently other users, you've got that plus the land, you've got over $30 million worth of value. At $30 million and 35%, the tax aspect, and applying the taxes, I'm sure that the taxes from that larger parcel of land, including all of the buildings, et cetera, are generating over $500,000 of real estate taxes. As John also pointed out, the ownership put in that road, it far exceeds the standards, basically, that you have under your code. The ownership also placed on that property deed restrictions, which basically require more substantial buildings than what your code calls for. They have tried to be a good citizen, they've tried to do the right thing, and they feel that this particular imposition, taking away a benefit that they could use to sell property, which will then generate money for Concord, is unfair. So that is my position. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? No. Thank you. Okay, anybody else on this matter, on the public hearing? commentary. Any objection to closing the public hearing and moving into the regular meeting?
No objection?
And we will go straight in because it is past 7:30.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close this public hearing. It's closed. That's going to bring us to the, well, let me open up the regularly scheduled Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for Wednesday, November 7th. Please join Connie in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Luda?
Here.
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Melchesky?
Present.
Approval of minutes. You have minutes before you that you received previously. Any changes, modifications, finding of errant grammar, spelling, or punctuation?
Not for me.
No?
No.
Nothing? All right. Those are then approved. Elected official reports. That's going to bring us to fiscal officer, Mrs. Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. As of October 31st, we were 83% of the way through the calendar year. Treasury balance for the 19 active funds within the Township Treasury was $5.7 million. Treasury balance includes approximately $77,400 in funds set aside for specific projects. Year-to-date expenditures were 69% of the amount appropriated for 2018. The revenue received year-to-date is $104,000 of the amount budgeted. We will not be receiving real estate tax revenue again until the end of the first quarter 2019, so we will need to have a carryover minimum of $2.5 million. Cemetery reminder, after November 1st, only seasonal wreaths may be placed by the graves. We'll be picking up any summer items that remain. Flags will be removed after Veterans Day. We will also be placing wreath holders this year for a Wreaths Across America ceremony that will be held on December 15th at noon on those graves. Please do not remove these holders as we want to get them placed before the snow flies. Wreaths can be purchased for $15. For more information or to volunteer that day, please call Karen Warner at 440-354-7518 or log on to Wreaths Across America at www.wreathsacrossAmerica.org/OH0164. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call my office, 354-7516. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustees, Connie.
I have nothing. Nothing.
Paul.
I wish we had technology so that we can just scroll that little website right on our TV as we speak.
I
We're
know.
working on that.
I know.
We're
It
gonna get-
is already posted on the website, so you
We're
can
gonna
go
get
onto our
Just-
website and
just
get the.
telling you. No, besides that,
It's coming.
things have been fairly quiet.
That's good.
Yes, and I would just say, just to let anybody know, I have had email issues since last Wednesday afternoon with the township, my township email, trying to get those resolved. So if you have sent me an email, members of the public, and I have not responded, feel free to give me a call on my cell phone. It's on our website. When we finally do solve the email problem, I'll be frantically trying to follow up on all those, but just wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up that I haven't been seeing my emails for a week, and it was about 4 days before anyone realized that. It was one of those aha moments, like, yeah, I haven't seen that. What are you talking about? So hopefully we'll have that resolved by tomorrow, just as a heads up. All right, department. Yeah.
I do have something.
Go.
I had a message from a resident who wanted me to call him back. I've tried about 10 or 12 times, and I get a busy signal all the time. So if he's listening, I will try again.
Well, or did he possibly give you
No,
bad info
I
on the
don't know.
number?
That
Or-
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just a busy signal.
That sounds like a bad number.
Okay.
Or they talk on the phone a lot. Okay, department reports, administration, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway, members of the board, Mrs. Dawson. Bids were open today for the Country Scene Detention Basin outfall repair. It's been a long-awaited and needed repair. There was a winning bid, and a contract should be awarded in the near future. And this work is scheduled, will likely be scheduled over the winter months so that the detention basin is properly functioning for the spring thaw. The zip code survey is complete. The results indicated over 75% of respondents are in favor of us obtaining an exclusive zip code for Concord Township. So we will continue to march forward on that initiative. I'm currently working with several commercial real estate brokers in trying to attract new business to the township. The renewal contract for dispatch services that's on the agenda is for the next 3 years. There is an increase in cost for the services, but it is comparable to what the other Lake County communities are paying for the same service, so we are right in line with that. The agenda also includes a Cintas contract for the next 24 months for the uniform and rug services. It's a renewal of our current contract. The agenda includes a contract for architectural services from LeMay, Erickson, and Wilcox for the site selection, programming, and design of new fire stations. This was a detailed process that began with a request for qualifications to solicit submissions from qualified architectural firms. We did receive 13 submissions. These submissions were then carefully screened and evaluated by administration, and the top 3 were presented to the trustees for further consideration. The trustees then brought in the 3 firms and conducted face-to-face interviews with each of the 3 finalists, and in the end, LeMay, Erickson, Wilcox is selected, and that contract is before you for tonight's vote. And then finally, we would like to welcome the following businesses that have recently opened or are about to open within the next week. Chipotle, located at 7689 Crowell Road. Cleveland Yoga, located at 7645 Crowell Road. And opening November 12th, Peace, Love, and Little Donuts, located at 8019 Crowell Road. And we'd like to thank them for their investment in Concord Township, and we wish them success. And that concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
My understanding is the owners of that are Concord residents.
That is correct. They are local. It's all
So
local.
we're thrilled that they are choosing to locate their business where they live. And I can tell you, I had one of those donuts in down at Kent State a few weeks ago.
Very good.
And they were really, really good. And I would just, let me figure out how much I want to say. Piggyback on Mr. Rose. All 3 of us have gotten a lot of questions recently regarding the status of riders, both emails, calls, social media. There is through a lot of hard work, through a lot of different people, both with the owners of the plaza, the township, there is a grocer that is looking to locate there. And that process is underway, both in terms of governmental approvals, permitting, those types of things. We expect to be able to have an announcement for you soon on that matter, so you can know that there will be a new grocery store going into Riders. Don't have a timetable on it yet. It will be a full-service grocery store where you will be able to do all your weekly shopping. We've seen the preliminary plans for the store, and they're making a very big investment into that facility. So.
More comprehensive than the last.
Much more comprehensive, and I think it's going to be a great asset for the community. And as soon as we are able to make an announcement officially, we will do so in terms of the who and the what and some of the details that people ask for. But rest assured, a lot of that hard work that went in last year into this year in meeting with a lot of different grocers, both locally and nationally, has paid off, and we will have a new grocery store sometime opening up in, I guess would be probably late spring of 19, but we don't have a timetable yet. So hopefully that will, I know because we get a lot of questions on that. So next up, Fire Department, Chief Sabo.
Well, good evening, everyone. So far, year to date, in 2018, the fire department has responded to 2,228 incidents. For the month of, I guess it would be October now, we had 140 EMS events with 116 transports to area hospitals. We had 81 total fire events, including 9 fires, 1 vehicle fire, 1 cooking fire, and 7 building fires, which were all mutual aid to area communities. So outside of Concord.
I was gonna say, I
So
didn't hear
that's
about
good.
7 building fires in
Nope,
Concord.
you would
Like,
have gotten that
You
text.
alarmed me there
You
for a
would have
moment.
gotten that
Like,
text.
what?
We also responded to 11 hazardous condition calls, not including fires. We gave mutual aid to our neighbors 21 times. We received mutual aid 12 times. We had 28% of our calls were overlapping, so we had 2 or more events going on at once. Our Fire Prevention Bureau stayed busy with plan reviews. They had 5 plan reviews, so the deputy chief's been staying very busy with looking at new businesses and changes in occupancies. They had 15 annual inspections, 3 inspection follow-ups, 21 fire protection system testings, and 4 consultations. They also installed 1 Knox box, 1 residential lockbox, and provided 15 public education events, as October was Fire Prevention Month. So we were out strong in the schools. During the month of November, due to the chilly temperatures, you have dreaming of cozy gatherings around a brightly lit fire. To keep those gatherings fire safe, follow these helpful tips. Have your fireplace and wood stoves inspected before you begin using them each year. Have the chimney cleaned to remove creosote, which can ignite and start a chimney fire, which can also extend to the rest of your house. Never use papers, trash, or liquid fuel. Burn only wood in fireplaces and wood or wooden pellets in wood stoves. Keep anything that can burn at least 3 feet away. Openings can get hot enough to burn skin, so keep your kids and pets away from them. When you're finished with your fire, put it out before you leave home or fall asleep. When you clean up, place the ashes inside of a metal can with a lid. I stress that. We've had several fires where hot ashes were placed in cardboard boxes and left indoors. So you can think of the consequences. Store the can outside, away from the home, until the ashes are completely cold. Also, really quick, we just started a new program. According to the CDC, in 2016, nearly 64,000 Americans died from drug overdoses, including from illicit medications and prescription opioids. According to the National Institutes of Health, 2/3 of individuals who use heroin began with misusing prescriptions. Many of these prescriptions are found in our household medicine cabinets, and they're making their way into the hands of children. Concord Township is pleased to announce that we have received 200 safe drug disposal kits. I don't know, can you zoom in on that? These kits are easy to use and are available to our residents at no cost. These are free and can be picked up at any of our facilities, at the fire stations, town hall, community center. If you have any questions, I'll work with you, Rick. If you have any questions regarding this program, please feel free to contact me at my office at 354-7504. It's really easy to use. You tear open the top, unzip the Ziploc, put your medications in there. The directions are on the back. Fill it up halfway with water, reseal it, shake it a little bit, and throw it in your trash. So it's very easy to use. It deactivates the medications and makes it safe. Thank you for your help, Rick. There are also several pharmaceutical drop-off locations throughout Lake County. Closest to Concord Township is at the Lake County Sheriff's Office, where they have a collection bin in their lobby where you can dispose of your prescription medications, no questions asked. For more information about this program, you can contact the Lake County General Health District at 350-2543. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All All right, next up, Service Department, Mr. Frank Kraska.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Service Department during the last month has gradually been wrapping up our seasonal maintenance and construction projects and preparing for the winter ahead. During October, we completed some of the following assignments. We installed a driveway culvert on Andrea Drive, dirt patched on the following roads: Andrea, Christian Avenue, Mountain Quail Place, and Winchell. We performed roadside ditching on Winchell, Fay Road, and Palmer. We completed over 100 square yards of concrete replacement on Stone Hollow. We installed 33 snow barricades, and we continued the development of a second baseball diamond here on our town hall grounds, which included hauling in several thousand cubic yards of fill dirt. Completed a variety of maintenance tasks at the cemetery and fabricated steel hangers for the Wreaths Across America program. In advance of our winter season, we have also been preparing our snowplow fleet. In other activities, this year's curbside leaf pickup will be held the week of November 26th. The collection will begin at 6 a.m. on the morning of Monday, November 26th. There will be no return trips to pick up bags that were not on the curbside when the collection began. Township-wide collection typically takes 3 to 4 days to complete. Residents are required to supply their own biodegradable leaf bags. After the bags are filled with leaves only, they should be placed at the curb where the vendor will pick them up. Only bagged leaves will be picked up. No leaves piled in bulk or leaves in plastic bags or containers will be accepted. The Concord Service Department will also allow for leaves in biodegradable bags only to be dropped off by township residents at the Service Department yard Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. This site is located at 7229 Ravenna Road. Again, do not mix brush or grass clippings with your leaves, as it may not be accepted for recycle. Find this and other related information under the Service Department website, or under the Service Department tab at our website at www.concordtwp.com. And if I can be on a lighthearted note, while it's still fresh in everybody's memory, just as an example, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, our gubernatorial candidates just completed raising, and I will suspect spending, $100 million. And if that's correct, and if you want to put it in a different perspective, if we were to do a $500,000 road project, for example, that would put our department in business for the next 200 years. And that's it in closing.
And those are just commercials.
What's that?
Those are just commercials.
And that was pretty much just commercials. Endless stream of them.
I'm not following your point, but okay.
Oh, you're not?
Thank you and have a good evening.
Thanks, Frank. The zoning department report will be read by Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. The zoning department report, during the month of October, zoning department processed 27 zoning applications and collected $5,250 in fees. Last night, the zoning commission held a public hearing for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 8.5 acres of land on Concord Hamden Road from Town Hall neighborhood to R1. The board recommended approval of the amendment to the trustees, so the trustees are now required to hold their own public hearing on the matter within 30 days of receipt of the zoning commission's recommendations. Additionally, the zoning commission approved a site plan and design review application for the McDonald's on Auburn Road. The project includes, but is not limited to, removal of the existing single drive-through aisle and going with a new double drive-through aisle. There'll be new signs, landscaping, the building facades being modernized, and the interior is also being modernized. The project is expected to begin in early April and should last about 6 weeks. And finally, the Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting for November has been canceled, as there were no applications or cases to review. This concludes the zoning department's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Next up is Rec Department. Deborah, you've got some stuff going on.
We always have stuff going on. Thank
Talk
you
to
very
us
much.
about it.
We do. Thanks to everyone who participated in Concord Township's annual Halloween haunt at Gristmill Village a few weeks ago. The weather held out as hundreds of costumed kids trick-or-treated their way around the shopping center. The Recreation Department is deeply grateful to the participating businesses for their generosity and enthusiasm, and to the Concord Township Fire Department and the Lake County Sheriff's Office for again warmly welcoming our guests to this family-friendly, wonderful tradition. November is a great time to focus on yourself before the rush of the holidays, and your recreation department is here to help. This month, we're offering the following classes with you in mind. Martial arts for adults and kids, pound fitness classes where you rock out to great music with weighted drumsticks, mixed media painting, learning Mahjong, Turkey 101 to get in preparation for Thanksgiving, and classes in collaboration with the Mentor and Morley Libraries, including Country Estates of Cleveland Gentlemen and Holiday Movies and Music Trivia. Spaces are available in all of the classes. You can sign up at concordtwp.com or just call the Recreation Department for assistance. Thanks to everybody who submitted photos for the Concord Township's 29th annual photo contest. Today is the last day to vote for your favorites, but you still can by going online to concordtwp.com. We're currently tabulating the paper ballots, and we're combining them with the online votes, and we'll notify winners next Tuesday, November 13th. So look for the winning pictures on our website next week. This afternoon, our 55-plus group guests were treated to a humorous and enlightening presentation on the story of Painesville famous Steel Mansion by owner Carol Shemakian. Thanks to Fire Chief Matt Szabo and Administrator Andy Rose for stopping by and updating our guests on opportunities and issues important to our residents. Our next 55 group gathering will be Monday, November 19th, where we'll host a special Breakfast and Brushes painting workshop. A shout out to the Waffle House, who will be serving up waffles while a local artist guides guests through painting a personal masterpiece. There are still seats available for this program, only a few, so sign up soon. Join our curator and docent, Dan Maxon, for an old school tea party at the Old Stone School this Saturday, November 10th. Guests will learn a little bit about Concord Township history as they enjoy a charming old-fashioned tea party, complete with fancy little sandwiches they'll want to sample with pinkies up. And mark your calendar for Concord Township's first annual Christmas tree lighting celebration on Friday, November 30th, beginning at the gazebo in Town Hall and then going inside. Gather around the tree at 7 p.m. and share in the holiday joy as we light up the Concord Township tree and then head inside and sing along to everyone's favorite Christmas carols by the Maple Mountain Chorus.
I'm excited for this one.
It's going to be great. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there for photographs. People can enjoy cookies and hot cocoa. A kids' craft table will be hosted by the Mentor and Morley Libraries, and we'll do some letters with Santa there. It's just shaping up to be a lovely, charming, wonderful, family-friendly beginning to the holiday season in Concord Township. All of this information and more can be found in the fall edition of the Township newsletter, the Concord Grapevine, on the Township's website, concordtwp.com, or just contact the Recreation Department for assistance anytime at 440-639-4650. Thank you, and I wish everyone peace, love, and little donuts.
Thank you, Deb. Concord Law Enforcement, Chief Liam Bruno. Deb, you know you can't mention donuts in front of the sheriff. Come on. Szabo paid me to say that, I swear. Ah, cool.
Well, we're doing a number of investigations. There were 200 of these came up missing.
See, Frank rips on you, and then you rip on him, and he goes back.
We had 1,068 calls for the month of October. 3 injury accidents, 18 property damage accidents. We respond to 60 alarms. Visited 175 times the various businesses in Concord. 175 crime prevention stops where we located open doors, lights on vehicles, construction sites, and visits with contractors. We did 25 citations, 82 warnings, 2 DUIs. We're investigating 3 breaking and enterings to vehicles, 1 burglary, 1 vandalism from October, 8 thefts, and 1 stolen vehicle. And as everyone's been talking about, with the winter weather coming, we would highly suggest that everyone takes a good look at their vehicles now before the winter weather starts. So start with your tires. Fall tires are good in the summer, not so great in the winter. In fact, they're pretty dangerous, so check your tires, your reflectors, your flares. Get good wiper blades, coolant, washer fluids, fill those up now. Get a blanket. Visit a website that tells you all about car preparation, and do that now so you can get that before the winter weather. We encourage everyone to sign up on our Facebook page and sign up on our Twitter for the Sheriff's Office, because we use those to let people know of bad weather, road closures, accidents, so you can avoid those coming in. So get on our Facebook and Twitter with that. And the best thing you can do also in this area, people aren't aware of, is on your cell phones, is to download OGO, O-H-G-O. And that's ODOT's program. And available on OGO is all the cameras on Interstate 90 and Route 2. So before you leave, you can see the weather conditions all the way down 271, really throughout Ohio. But you can zero in on the weather conditions here and see them right on your cell phones. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Learned something. OGO. Got it.
HGO.
It's great.
All right.
I don't want you looking on your cell phone as you're driving though, Chris.
It's before you leave. You never know when it's windy.
Yeah. Sometimes it's windy, just sneaks up on you.
It does. It does. Okay, that's going to be it for reports. Audience portion, anybody like to address the board? Audience portion. Come on up. Anyone that wants to. Same thing, name, address.
Excellent. I'm Mark Falcone, live at 10185 Page Drive. I guess this would be directed to Mr. Rose. Survey's complete about the zip code. Just curious about what prompted this, more or less the fiscal responsibilities for that, for Concord. If there's going to be a public meeting about this situation. Also with that survey, I think it also entailed something about a post office, brick and mortar, and that situation. I'm wondering if that's going to be held in a public forum to discuss the pros and cons of that. Appreciate that.
Sure. What prompted the survey is that for probably, it's well over a decade,
Or 20 years.
I mean, I'm just speaking since we've been on the board.
Yeah, it's been longer than that.
Concord has contemplated the idea of requesting its own zip code. There is a formal process through the Postal Service for asking for that, as well as there's a legislative process, literally an act of Congress. And so the survey was part of our approach to gauging the interest. We've heard from residents for years about how they like a post office, they would like a zip code. The post office, through their official process, would like a community survey of some sort. We chose to do the electronic and advertise it through social media and all that. There are no requirements for public hearings or anything of that nature. So it's really fulfilling an element of the post office's internal application process, if you will. But it also serves a great purpose in terms of pursuing a legislative fix on wanting a zip code, because you can go to your congressmen and senators and say, we have public support for doing it. Why do we want it? I think initially, for a long time, our interest has been about community building. We currently have 3 zip codes that divide up Concord Township. This tends to create a lot of confusion in terms of for some people, as they're either new residents. Sometimes you hear of even deliveries, things of that nature.
During tax season,
tax season,
are trying to pay taxes.
So I even had recently a fellow who was very upset with their realtor because they thought they bought a house in Mentor and they bought it in Concord. And they were sure they were buying a house in Mentor. Well, you know, a realtor just say, oh, 060, yeah, you're in Mentor.
Yeah.
Well, and then, you know, of course now, look, you should know where you're buying a house and read the deed, right? But our feeling has long been that if you're going to build the sense of community, you know, you have to have your own identity, and part of that is having a zip code. We're the largest township in Northeast Ohio. We've got 20,000 residents. We have a growing commercial district. Having our own zip code is very beneficial from that standpoint in terms of who we are as a community. Beyond that, as you know, there's license and motor vehicle taxes that the state distributes back to local communities. If somebody allows the BMV or somebody else to fill that paperwork in incorrectly and doesn't designate Concord Township, that money will go to Painesville, Mentor, Chardon, and we would lose out on dollars that would rightfully belong to the township. Doesn't increase any dollar amounts, it's just making sure that we get the proper allocation of dollars that should be coming to us. Now, how many people go in, and if the form says Painesville, because all the mail they get says Painesville, they're not going to question it, right? So from that standpoint, and we recently did an audit that Amy oversaw and found that
It was thousands of dollars.
we were losing out on lots of money. And we had to pay for that audit, and there was a process. So that's one reason. Cost. There is no cost to us in terms of if we were to get our own zip code. There's no fee sent back by the Postal Service to the local community. There is no fee if they decided to build a post office. That's extremely unlikely in the current financial status of the Postal Service. We've been told that. We included it as part of our survey just to show a general element of support and what our residents are looking for, because we get a lot of people that ask us, why can't we have a post office? Why do they have one in Grand River for 400 people, but we don't have one for 20,000 people?
Fairport Harbor.
Fairport Harbor. And both very nice villages, but, you know,
Yeah,
far fewer people with a post office. So that was part of what, you know, why Mr. Rose included that in the survey. There is no cost. It does not affect our taxes in any way. Property taxes, a zip code is simply a numerical designation by the Postal Service for, you know, for their routing. Obviously, it has more of an effect beyond that, but it doesn't involve our status as a township or anything of that nature. So there is no cost to us. It's highly unlikely we'd ever get a post office anytime in the near future under the current situation.
Okay, yeah, I was just not quite informed on the having a zip code. I know that we're serviced by a few other post office. Having a personal zip code, a specific zip code, would essentially get us out of this being helped by these other post office, Mentor, Painesville.
Yeah,
and also if the price of their work, I'm sure, I'm not really sure how it goes with the post office. Are we being kind of asked to being pushed out of their entity with Mentor because of maybe their post office is kind of small and telling us that we need to go elsewhere, or, you know, what's the initiative on this?
No, yeah, the Postal Service isn't asking for us to pursue this. We're pursuing it, and we've been told that what would happen is they would determine from an administrative standpoint that one of those post offices would become the servicing post office for the township. So either Painesville or Mentor. Probably Mentor because it's bigger than Painesville. Certainly bigger than Chardon.
Correct.
And there is still the possibility, I was told that they could, it may not necessarily, they may actually, based on the +4, they might even, you know, find another way to even have more than one service us, but that's less likely. So one of those two would end up servicing the community unless for some reason they chose to put in a new postal facility here.
Good. Yeah, with the communities kind of combining forces to be economically fiscal, that, you know, I think it would be great to keep sharing the post office, but I do understand about the tax revenue that could be lost without specifically stating that it's Concord. So, okay, this would be great. I'm personally kind of against a brick and mortar post office with the financial responsibilities that are associated with that, with the routes, the employment, the people, et cetera.
And that wouldn't, that's never borne by a local community. That's always the Postal Service, if they chose to do that.
Okay, excellent. Another comment, I think this is kind of, I want to tag along on Mr. Kreska's commercial that he had. If funds do come up with the government, I'm really stressed to get this I-90 and 44 interchanged more up to the standards of 2018 standards and higher. So I hope the trustees look into that if these funds do come available.
That is a constant for us in terms of ODOT District 12. They have no plans at this time to upgrade the 90 and 44 interchange, but it's something that we continue to poke them.
And when we have road projects that require studies, we do that, we have those studies to include from basically Girdle Road all the way to the 84 exit, so that it includes those traffic patterns, so it suggests that that interchange on 90 needs to be upgraded and redesigned, along with, you know, my drawings of how I think it should look.
I will tell you that District 12 is struggling right now. They've lost some personnel. You know, I know you probably remember about a year and a half ago, the two young men that were killed in Chardon when they ran through, was it Clark? And we're, it was Hosford, okay. You know, ODOT announced they were gonna do a study and looked at the traffic patterns from Concord line all the way down. They never did it. They pulled the plug on it.
Well, continue on poking them.
Yeah,
because,
well,
we
I
need to
wish I had a
fix.
hot poker.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have a new administration coming in.
Yeah.
That will undoubtedly, you know, more likely than not, change some personnel, because they have appointing power to the districts. So we're hopeful that, you know, we can continue to try to make some progress with them as it relates to some of our needs around here.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Good questions. We've got more audience. Come on down.
Robert Aspinwall, 7559 Sarah Lee Drive. This is a question for Service Director. The intersection of Sarah Lee and Kelly Drive. They've been doing markings in there. What's the update on that?
We're currently evaluating to see if we could create a overflow channel to try to help direct the water when we have heavy rains.
Okay.
Keep it from spilling out onto the roadway.
Okay.
So we're looking at the utility locations and stuff right now to try to evaluate, you know, what would be the best practice there to make an improvement, which wouldn't affect any of the properties. This would be probably entirely done along the Cali side of, you know, where the pond area is there. So we were looking at increasing that channel there to afford, you know, the heavy amount of water that comes down the hill through there. Because what happens during heavy rain events now is it spills out onto the roadway down part of Sarah Lee there, goes across Cali. There's quite a bit of debris in the road, so there's a lot of response that we have to meet up with. So we're currently looking into that and going to work with Lake County Stormwater to see if we can come up with something there that would benefit the community over there.
Yeah, because I'm losing property in my backyard because of that. Because of that creek coming in through there. Is that zone wetlands?
Over there
Yes.
in that pond area?
Yes.
Yeah, they're very sensitive as to what you can do within that area itself without, you know, getting permits or going to the Army Corps of Engineers or something.
Okay, have you talked to the Corps and see if we can get some kind of funding to put that?
We generally work with Lake County Stormwater and look to them for recommendations as to what, if anything, we can do. The watershed coming down from the higher elevations that flows, as an example, through your backyard, we've experienced some fairly significant rain events, which, you know, for some reason weren't common not that long ago, but seem to be more frequent now. So when that development was created and the housing was put in and everything, all the stream areas, you know, were planned to accept normal rainfalls. That's how they kind of gauge that when they engineer those things. So, some of the homeowners sometimes have to take measures to, stabilize areas if they start to see erosion. And again, if you have a specific problem, you can always approach Lake County Stormwater.
Okay.
And Tim Miller is the director over there, and talk to him about it, and, they'll come out, take a look, and see if there's anything unusual taking place. Creeks tend to meander. I mean, that's, since the beginning of time, creeks go where they want to go.
Right.
They're constantly ricocheting, it's like a ping-pong ball effect.
Mhm.
As they do that, they gradually can change, the direction they're heading in and stuff, and thus, create erosion situations like that, so.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend, if you're having a specific problem, that,
Alright.
initiate a conversation with Tim Miller first, and, we'll be glad
I know
to.
the whole area, even my neighbors across the way, he's having trouble with his driveway sinking now, and he's losing property in his backyard because of all the water. So there's a big problem. I mean, I think it's just from the new developments, it's caused a lot of problems. So, all right, thank you.
I always recommend any resident plant trees.
I got plenty,
That's
but
very
they're
good
starting
to
to
our
fall
whole
this way, they're
community.
starting to go down because of the erosion, so, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else want to address from the audience? Board? Nope, okay, I'm gonna close the audience portion. Paul, Connie, what I'd like to do is set aside items B and C and tackle all the other items
Okay.
prior to. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve October financial statements
Second.
as reviewed.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's gonna bring us to the records destruction list.
I would make a motion to accept and approve the records destruction list and to properly destruct those items.
Second.
I want to thank Amy for her diligent work on that.
I'd like to thank the staff at Town Hall for their diligent work on that.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Make a motion to approve fire department conditional offer of employment to part-time firefighter EMT paramedic Margaret Laka, pending background check and physical.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to accept part-time firefighter Brian Cassie's resignation effective October 31st, 2018.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to accept part-time firefighter paramedic Michael Brush's resignation effective 11/7 of 2018.
Second.
Don't think he's
He's not
a paramedic.
he's
but
not a
just
paramedic.
I'm
Part-time
sorry,
firefighter.
part-time firefighter.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to accept part-time firefighter Mario Frito, resignation effective 11/7/2018.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I second it.
I heard that. I heard that.
Oh, you
I heard
did?
you mumble.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the supplemental appropriations fund number 9001 security deposit to 1,000 general fund to $25,000.
Second.
This is the resolution of the situation with the community center and the funds.
Yeah, and actually, she's taken in so many security deposits this year that we give them back out, that I need $5,000 more in
Wow.
the fund this year to appropriate, so.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the agreement for central dispatch and communication services as previously reviewed.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adopt the Cintas service agreement for Concord Township, again as previously reviewed.
Second.
And that is a 2-year agreement.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would ask that we set a public hearing for the zoning amendment application 10,018-4 by Summers Real Estate Group LLC requesting a zoning map amendment to the 8.636 acres of land on Concord Hamden Road currently known as permanent parcel number 8A13-2 and 8A13-3 in the current zoning district of Town Hall neighborhood to the R1 residential district.
Second.
Well,
Oh.
we're just gonna set it.
Oh.
It's not a vote, it's
Yeah,
a
he's
setting.
not,
of
that
public
wasn't a
hearing.
motion, yeah. What I would suggest, looking at my calendar, is we do for
Yes.
December 5th
Fifth, yeah.
at 7 PM.
Okay,
And I think what we'll do, Andy, is then therefore we'll amend office hours to be 6 to 7. How's that?
Okay. I'll take care of that.
All right, very good. All right, I would entertain a motion for executive session for the purposes of discussing contract at this time.
I move that we have an executive session for the purposes of discussing a contract.
Would it be contract negotiation, Mr. Chairman?
Duly noted. Thank you.
Negotiations.
I would second that.
I need a roll call.
Mrs. Luda?
Yes.
Mr. Melchewski?
Yes.
Mr. Galloway?
Yes. Okay, we're going to go into recess. We're going to go into the other conference room. I need Andy, Mike, Rita, and staff, if you'd like to go. We will come back in here and finish this meeting. Public as well, you may stay. We're going to just recess for the time being. We will return.
Do you want me in it or not?
Sure.
Okay, well, we
He didn't say so.
didn't mention that.